Good morning. I want us to talk about your human rights, the Civil Rights Commission, and Pastors Fraternal. And we are on the topic this week on how you should not allow yourself to be bullied. We spoke the last 2 days on your constitutional rights. Basically, if you look at the Bill of Rights, which is a foreign concept to a lot of people, there are some very basic rights there that every citizen, I don't know about the tourists, but every citizen should be affaired with. And I've written a few of them here. The right to equality, of course, the right to human dignity, the right to life, the right to freedom and security, and the right to personal privacy, and the right to freedom of expression, and the right to freedom of association, and the right to political participation, the right to education, and the right to slavery, the right to work for who you want to work for, the kind of work you should do, and to be paid for what you do, and then housing and children's rights and all that. And now we were looking at why the Parliament, the COGDA, Portfolio Committee at Parliament, found the Civil Rights Commission's recommendations unworkable, unnecessary, and unconstitutional. If you, and I keep harping on the same fact, because unless you get it into your head, you'll never understand what you're fussing over. The Bill of Rights give essence to the Constitution. As a South African citizen has rights, and those rights are very basic to their existence. They're not a favor that anybody extends us. They're not a favor that government gives us. They are rights that are basic to existence. Now, whenever you exercise these rights, people say you have something to hide. But the truth of the matter is, maybe the people who had something to hide were the ones who wrote the Constitution. Because if it's a right, I'm entitled to it. Now, when the Civil Rights Commission went to Parliament and said they wanted to regulate religion, and they did say there, by the way, Parliament says, no, this is unworkable, unnecessary, unconstitutional. So let's go into the mandate of the Civil Rights Commission. You'll understand the kind of noise we've been making since 2015. Remember when the Civil Rights Commission came out in 2015 after the TB Joshua disaster? And all of a sudden they were concerned about the commercialization of religion, and they wanted to know why so many South Africans died in Nigeria. We wrote a petition, and have recently re-edited that petition and submitted it to various agencies of the state. And by the way, if you want a copy of our petition, it's in the public domain. We shall send it to you. Now, listen to what the law says about the Civil Rights Commission. The Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the rights of cultural, religious, and linguistic communities. They are the Commission for the Promotion and the Protection of the rights, not the erosion of those rights like they're trying to do it. Of these three communities, the cultural, the religious, and linguistic communities. It is an independent Chapter 9 institute in South Africa. It draws its mandate from the South African Constitution by the way of the Commission for the Promotion and Protection. Not the harassment of religious and cultural and linguistic communities. They exist for the promotion and the protection of those rights. Here is the mandate, and you shall get our point, and you shall understand why when we say to you now, like we said in the ENCA interview last year, and why when we said in the newsroom interview 3 days ago, that religion will never be regulated in South Africa. We are not just sucking our thumbs and blowing hot air like some people were. We know the Constitution and we know the law. And for that to happen, for religion to be regulated, we must change the South African Constitution. And if you understand, you see, The advantage some of us have is we work for government, and not just as your lower-ranking employees. I was among the first group of black executives in government employment since 1994. At some stage in my life, I was an executive for government, and we saw the writing of various laws. And there are certain concepts I want to share with you quickly. It's mandate, powers and functions, and compliance. If you don't understand those three principles, you are completely disoriented regarding the application and interpretation of any law. The Constitution will set out certain processes, and the Constitution will establish certain organs of state. And each of them are drawn out a mandate, and their mandate is the essence for their existence. And every mandate will clearly set out powers, authority, and functions of that particular entity. Now, there are times an entity sets out to do what is not mandated for. And it will go back and ask for money because what it interprets its mandate to be is not funded. And upon that time, it will be reminded that the reason you're asking for money is because you are doing what you're not supposed to be doing. Long before the Civil Rights Commission started complaining that it needed money, it can't do all investigations, long before then, I had said they're operating outside their mandate. I've been singing that song since 2015. The first time they set out those hearings and they demanded that pastors bring their bank statements, I said to the pastors, do not comply. They are operating outside their mandate. You see, some of us, by the grace of God, were privileged to work for government before we started preaching. So we have a concept of the corporate world, we have a concept of the political and a legal framework, and we have context of how laws are made and how laws apply. And we said it then that these guys are operating outside their mandate. They don't have the powers to function the way they want to function. Hey, we knew what we were talking about. And we said then, there is not a single government institution which has the power to make any demand by virtue of it just being a government institution. And we said it then, that if what the CL Commission wants to do now, it is empowered to do, then let us accept that the SAPS can knock on our doors and demand that we pay our TV licenses. Let us accept then that SARS can demand to know the school curriculum. Let's accept that Home Affairs has the right to demand that you show them your title deed for your property. People who don't understand that, they operate arrogantly and ignorantly, like we have seen in the last week, when a non-entity with delusions of grandeur is of the opinion that they have a right to demand anything, and if you don't give them, that means you don't have it. That is so naive, so ignorant, and so pitiful. You can't demand stuff you are not authorized to demand. The Civil Rights Commission started making certain demands on churches that we said in 2015. They can't make those demands. And preachers did not listen to us because maybe, I don't know, maybe we're not famous enough. Here is the mandate of the Civil Rights Commission. When you read this mandate, you'll understand why Parliament said your recommendations to control churches, to control religion, are unworkable, unnecessary, and unconstitutional. Here is what the official mandate of the Civil Rights Commission is. The Civil Rights Commission is mandated to promote respect for and to further the protection of the rights of the cultural, religious, and linguistic community. Their job is to promote and to protect, not to enforce. Because for every right they should be promoting and protecting, there is an agency of enforcement. The Civil Rights Commission can report to the SAPS, like they failed to do with the Ngobo massacre. They can report to the SAPS, look, there's something brewing there. We've interviewed that group there in Ngobo there, And you've realized that they, by their own admission, they say they are not allowing the kids to go to school. And they are violating the Child Protection Act. They are violating the Children's Freedom of Movement. Then the SAPS, the Human Rights Commission, would have moved in and diffused that. No. But Tawo Kaluva and the previous administration believed that they had the power to solve every problem they identified. And that's why they got messed up. That's why they too developed delusions of grandeur. Because all of a sudden, Tawo Kaluva was the new sheriff in town. Every problem she identified, she naively thought she had the power to solve. That's why all her friends operate in that stupidity. And by the way, it is not an insult to call someone a fool. It's a diagnosis. When the doctor says you have cancer, they've not insulted you. They've just diagnosed you. When a psychiatrist says, no, you are mentally deranged, they're not insulting you. They're just diagnosed. When I say you are confused, I'm diagnosing you. And I'm not insulting you. But to think that you have so much power that I wake up in the morning. Imagine that now. I'm sitting in my garden Saturday morning. I have neighbors here. Imagine if I knocked on my neighbors and said, look, brother, I've observed that you live with this woman here. I've been in this neighborhood for 19 years. I mean, look, to satisfy me that she's your wife, can I see your marriage certificate? When he says, no, get out of you, it's none of your business. Then I start going to Facebook, telling people, nah, they're not married. They're cohabiting. Because if they were not cohabiting, they would have given the marriage certificate. You are an utter and you are a hopeless fool to think that way. The Civil Rights Commission, they were there to promote and develop peace, friendship, humanity, tolerance, national unity, and within cultural and religious linguistic communities on the basis of equality, non-discrimination, free association. Can you see why their recommendations were unconstitutional? They are there to promote and develop peace, to develop friendship, not the hostility they brought into the religious community, to promote humanity, tolerance, national unity among and within the cultural, religious, and linguistic communities on the basis of equality, non-discrimination, and freedom of association. The very freedom of association they wanted to take from the religious communities by forcing them into umbrella bodies, by forcing them into peer reviews. I don't know. I really don't know. I was a management consultant for a very long time. I did organizational review and restructuring and strategic planning and all that. And at some stage I asked my friends, who's informing these people's move? I would have understood if they came in and did not do what they're supposed to be doing. But no, they did to the contrary of what they're supposed to be doing. If you've been set up and the Constitution says, promote freedom of association, and the first thing you say, no, I want to restrict freedom of association. I'm going to force you to belong to umbrella bodies. I'm going to force you to belong to peer review structures. I'm going to force you to belong to certain structures. You are confused about your role. Somebody said to me, what is the status of the group at Rema, convened by Reverend Macaulay and chaired by Bishop Son? I said, they're just an interest group. The Rema group, I hear that they'll be reconvening in October. They're just an interest group. There is not a single religious community structure. There is not a single religious group. There is not a single fraternity that has a government mandate to talk religion in South Africa. Mandate is the right of operation. When I give you a mandate, you're not doing anything permissible. You are doing something instructed. People don't understand permissibility and instruction or mandate. The Rema group is just an interest group. So is every pastor's fraternity in South Africa. There is not a single legal status attached to any pastor's fraternity. None. But then the confusion was created by the Civil Rights Commission. They created an impression that certain people were speaking on behalf of the church. Why? Because the promotion, the commission operated outside its mandate. And that's why all the friends around Tawakaluva, they're delusional. They wake up in the morning, let me check. Let's find out if Jabul Shongwani has a degree in music before he releases another CD. And, oh, Jabul says go to hell. Yeah, you're not a true musician. Okay. Let's see if Julius Malema has a degree in political science. Julius Malema says go to hell. You're not a true politician. They are mad and delusional. And that confusion exists within everybody who had close associations with Tawakaluva. And they come with bullying tactics now. No, I laughed. I sat at home and I said to my wife, what are they doing? I found then that the only man with brains regarding what was happening in South Africa was Mboro. He told them to go to hell. I have no right to disclose my church books to you. I think Mboro is a serious problem to believe the things he does and to say the things he says in church. But the Constitutional Court has already said, however bizarre, however unconventional, however abnormal any activity in religious circles is, if it's not harming people, if there is nothing unlawful or illegal happening there, it is accepted. Now, I don't care if it gives sense or not to me, as long as it meets those three criteria. There's nothing harmful happening there. There is nothing illegal or unlawful happening. Let it be. But when they came and said, give us your... I said, they're not entitled to do that. What a lot of people don't understand is, not even the Department of Social Development can demand that a church be registered as an NGO. There is no such obligation on any church. No church is under obligation to carry an NPO number. The government can say, we force it. No, because freedom of association. You can take your church as a spiritual stock fair. Friends who meet in a particular place and they club together and they build the structure. What happens in there, if it's not harmful to people, if there's nothing illegal happening there, and if there's nothing unlawful happening there, let them be. It's none of your business. That is why when Togo said, no, we want to change that, the parliamentary portfolio committee showed them the middle finger and said, go away. And Parliament said, let the churches draw their own non-obligatory, unenforceable code of conduct. Let various groups go around and let them conscientize themselves that they shall uphold human rights commissions, human rights. And if there is any violation, call in the necessary enforcement agencies. And lastly, listen to this. The mandate is to promote the right of communities to develop their historically diminished heritage and to recognize community councils. That is the mandate. Now, from that mandate, if you have worked for government, if you have worked in the corporate world, you know you must come with some vision and mission. Now, this is what the vision and the mission of the Civil Rights Commission is. The vision of the Civil Rights Commission is a united South African nation that protects and promotes the cultural, religious, and linguistic rights of all its diverse communities. And its mission is to promote and protect the rights of the cultural, religious, and linguistic communities. If we're in church, it's amen. That's all. Now, they were supposed to be friendly people, promoting a culture of human dignity, promoting a culture of freedom of association. They should be the ones that pastors run to and say, look, they are forcing us into pastors fraternal. Then the commissioners will come and say to the pastors fraternals, you are just a religious stock fair. You can't force people to build. Now, the gangsterism happening in Ekurhuleni, we are going to take Ekurhuleni head on. Whoever is running the gangsterism in Ekurhuleni, prepare to come face to face with the anti-regulation of religion summit very soon. You can never force preachers to belong to fraternals before you allocate them land government has allocated for community activities. You can't do that. It's gangsterism. You are infringing on the freedom of association because, don't forget, the freedom to associate comes with the freedom not to associate. I choose not to associate. It's my right not to associate. Now, this culture where any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come and make demands on us, and if you refuse to comply with those demands, they label us. We are just being kind. I received a call from my lawyer and he spoke. And he says, sue these dogs. I said, I don't know if they are dogs or not. Some dogs have dignity. But I don't. It's not worth my while. You see, when I studied philosophy those days, and by the way, I do have a qualification in philosophy. When I studied philosophy those days, I learned something that when the weak and the helpless feel weak and helpless, they take it out on the weak and helpless. So, and the problem is nothing can be done about that. There are battles not worth our attention. You remember the 5 laws of combat? That's another philosophical principle. There are 5 rules of combat, and one of the rules is you must believe in the reason for the battle. I don't believe in the reason for the battle. Right now, this stupidity is raging about my qualification. I don't believe in the reason for the battle. Why should I get engaged? Don't forget, you can't dictate the reasons for me. I must find it worth my while. Right now, I think the 20th or so, Manny Pacquiao is engaging in a multi-billion boxing match there. He believes in the reason for the fight. You can't drag me to the ring just because you think we should be fighting. You try to transfer that belief to me. I must believe. But also the rules of commerce says choose your season well. Right now, the season is such that the only thing on my mind is the anti-regulation of religion. I said to one pastor, if it means us sacrificing our personal dignity for the bigger picture, we shall do so. If these fools force me to submit proof of my qualification, I have betrayed the trust of people who believed me when I said, hands off our religion. Because that means henceforth, the same fools can go and demand marriage certificates of certain pastors, and they'll be forced to give them. There are people who believe in me, who have vested their trust in me, who are saying we believe the leadership you stand for, and we believe you when you say hands off religion. When those people see me bogged down to prayer just to save my own dignity in the betrayal of the bigger picture, I've lost my credibility in their eyes. We will not comply with bullies. No pastors fraternal, the Civil Rights Commission, no obscure individuals, no government agencies has a right to make certain demands on you that they are not authorized to. I hope that gives sense to you. May the Lord bless you. Enjoy your day. You have rights. If it's a right, it is enforceable. Fight with all you have. And if that right is violated, go to the Human Rights Commission. Go to the Equality Court. Go to SAPS. Lay charges. Somebody said, why didn't you lay charge yourself? I don't believe in the reason for the battle. And I don't think it's the season for useless battles. This is Dr. Shimikotu coming to you from Joburg. And if you have any queries regarding what I say, what I stand for, 079 695 8908 is my number. Enjoy your day.